Park. Welcome to it. I actually have your pastor right here in studio. Let me just say a very special afternoon to you, Prophetess Mthethwa. Thank you and welcome to Kofifi FM. Yeah.
Thank you, James, for having me at Kofifi FM. It's a pleasure to be here.
Absolutely a pleasure to meet you. We appreciate you for coming through and joining us on Kofifi FM 97.2. So you are not just you're not just an author, right? I speak to authors each and every time. But you actually are doing so many things. You are a prophetess, you are a preacher of the gospel, you are a counselor, and as I mentioned, also being an author. Talk to us about just these aspects of your life. So many elements in your life, prophetess. How do you get to do all of this? Because we have 24 hours. Each and every one of us at least has about 24 hours in a day. How do you get to do all of these things on a daily?
I think, first of all, it's by the grace of God that helps us to be able to do time management.
Yeah.
It's very important, discipline, and if you want to do something, once you set your mind on it, you need to. And time is too short not to do what you're born for.
Absolutely, yeah. Speaking about doing what you were born for, take us to the time when you said, you know what, I am going to pursue this particular journey. Speaking about your journey, because I believe you being actually the preacher of the gospel of God is actually the particular journey that led you to doing so many other things, being a counselor, being also an author. So maybe take us through that moment when you actually received your calling now to say, this is my calling, I need to go and follow this particular route.
To be honest with you, my journey to destiny, everything that I went through, first of all, as a child of God, let alone being a minister of the gospel and a preacher. We go through so much, and sometimes you don't even know who to go to. People don't understand the things that we go through. And I thought to myself, the things that I had to go through, somebody needs to get help, because if God was not on my side, I could have given up. Even people that I thought, would understand what I'm going through, they didn't. Actually, they would even tell me, this is too big. We've never been through such. And so I thought there's somebody out there that is going through, so much storms, mountains, and trials, and it's like the story of Joseph.
Yes.
It's not that there's something wrong that you've done, but of course it's a time of processing.
Absolutely.
But still, you need, to know that there's nothing wrong and you're going to be fine after all.
I'm going to ask you an obvious question with an obvious answer, Prophetess. What kept you going as you're going through those trials and tribulations? What then kept you going to say, I need to dust myself off and continue with the journey?
Because I had an encounter with Jesus, to be honest, James. There's so much that God has done for me in my life. And when I was going through so much, I thought to myself, I cannot give up now. Because when I go back, even in corporate, God has showed up that He is God. He has healed me, has done so much. So I cannot give up now just because I'm going through these crazy things. And also the support from my husband.
Absolutely.
It counts.
Yeah, well, thank you so much for that, Prophetess. And by the way, Prophetess Mthethwa was speaking about her husband. That is, of course, also part of her journey, right, in this particular preaching of the gospel of God on 97.2. That is Bishop Ernest Mthethwa. They are, of course, senior pastors, including also founders of the Dominion Life-Changing Family Church in Kempton Park. Hence, I mentioned earlier on starting the show that if you are listening to the station out in Kempton Park or wherever you may be, you may know Prophetess Mthethwa as well as Bishop Ernest Mthethwa. So now let's talk about the title of this book. I mean, I love the title of the book, My Journey to Destiny. And you mentioned earlier on, as I listened to you, it will appear that this, the book itself, including also the title of the book, was encouraged or inspired at least by your life journey.
Yes, it was encouraged by my life journey. It has not been easy, especially even in the church, because in the church, everybody thinks people that are in the church are angels, people that don't have faults, people. I've realized that even in the church, we've got people that are sent from the dark world to destroy what's in the church, to pull us down while we're looking outside. And family-wise, we go through so much. Storms at work, you go to work. As a child of God, there's so much that the enemy tries to discourage you with. Hence, I'll start my book in my first chapter saying, starting with Ephesians 6:12, that says, we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, you know, in highest places, rulers and powers, which manifest, you know, in our lives, and it comes as poverty, lack, you know, discouragement, loss, you know, delay, and so many things. But these things, they start in the spiritual world. We're fighting with principalities that we don't even see.
You know, you mentioned something that is taking me back to earlier this morning. I was listening to this clip, at least this conversation, or this particular preaching by one of the pastors in South Africa, who was saying that, you know what, the church itself also is putting leaders, I'm talking about you as the one who's actually leading in the church, putting you under a lot of pressure. And you mentioned that to say, we expect everything to be okay with you. You're just human also, but you expect that, no. If for the Prophetess Mthethwa, if you are actually the daughter of Prophetess Mthethwa, including also Bishop Mthethwa, then you have no business actually making mistakes. You have no business actually messing up. You need to be on the right path. So we are also putting you under a lot of pressure.
That's very true. That you even, you know, you're scared to even speak about things.
Yeah.
I remember when I lost my child. And one of the members I speak about in the book, one of the members just clearly confessed, because God was just doing things in her life that she never thought it's going to happen. So she said, to be honest, I was sent to kill you. I was sent to destroy you, but we managed to kill your son. You understand? So that thing, of course, it makes somebody think, what did she do that she will go through all these things? While these things were happening, there were others who were saying, maybe she has wronged God, just like they said to Job, you know. And we get so fearful now to speak about it, and forget that even as a counselor, you need to be counseled.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely, yeah. No, I love that even as a counselor, you need to be counseled yourself.
Yes.
Now, you then took a journey to Johannesburg. We have different stories, obviously, on our journeys to Johannesburg. If you can just, obviously, we don't want to share everything about the book, but maybe just a snippet, if you like, into your journey to Johannesburg.
James, to be honest, coming from KZN, my town is Escort, a small town. Coming to
Tell me about it. I'm from the Northwest Province, so.
You know, to come to Johannesburg. So when I first came, I stayed with somebody in Soweto. Just to be in Soweto, from Soweto to OR Tambo. I've never seen such a big location. At 3 o'clock in the morning, everyone, it's like it's 1 o'clock in the afternoon. And when I get to the airport, I always say this story. You know, when you get to the airport at the terminal, you see these ladies, check-in agents and gents. I thought, wow, they're sitting outside, because I've never seen such an environment of people sitting. So it was just, you know, a very overwhelming time, and yet fulfilling, because I made up my mind that I'm here to make money and
we may actually have someone, Prophetess, listening to the station right now, and they are also going through those trying times, and you at times feel like, you know what, I cannot go on with this journey anymore. Like I'm done. I'm tired of always having to be strong. And we know that this year alone, we have been hearing so much about depression, right? So many people being depressed. So many things are happening, obviously, under the 2020 rather, with the COVID-19 pandemic. So many families have lost their loved ones. So many people have lost also their, the income to make sure that they continue with their journey of life. It is difficult for them to do so. So as someone who has actually, in your book, spoken about this and saying that we need to continue now, I suppose we need to, regardless of the challenges that you are facing, you just continue with the journey up until you reach your destination. I haven't read the book, but through some of the pointers that I mentioned here, I can actually see that you are, in a nutshell, saying that yes, I've gone through challenges. It is okay to actually be challenged. It is okay to be going through different circumstances, but don't even think of giving up. That is what I'm getting, just reading through what the contents of the book itself is suggesting here. So I don't know if you have someone like that. I'm not sure if I'm mistaken, first of all, by assuming that that is what the book is mostly speaking about.
So right.
All right.
You are
and
so
then
right.
Thank you, Prophetess. And then, so let's talk about that person now who is going through what you may have gone through, and they are actually at the brink of saying that Nakishapuga life? Like, what is the use of continuing with this journey?
Wow, that's a very good question. I want to say to that person, don't give up.
Yeah.
There's a God who's there, you know, to make sure He's resurrecting everything that the enemy has stolen from you.
Yeah.
I mean, God said to me, this is time of restoration. Even though there are storms, even though there's loss, you know, people are dying, lost jobs, there's rejection, there's so much, you know, divorces, finances are not there. I'm here to say, hang on to Jesus.
Yes.
There's no other hope, but He is the hope, and He has never lied. As much as it's hard, as much as it's not easy, storm after storm, but they're not alone. They need to just rise up. You know, it's a season of restoration. God is able to resurrect everything that was stolen, you know, and double fold, not even once. And it's not that the pain is not there, you know, but just, you know, try and speak it. Rise up. And God is going to meet you. He hasn't left you. He's waiting for you, because the enemy wants us to be discouraged. He wants us to say, God, where are you? How did you allow this situation? Why didn't you tell me or get me ready for this? You know, but trust Him. He's able. We know Him for that. You know, rise up and refuse to die. Do not kill yourself. As much as you on the ground and you are rejected, even yourself, you see you're not going anywhere, but God has promised us, you know, that He'll never leave nor forsake us. And He told us that we are not the tails but the heads. So rise up and speak it. He will meet you. It's a season of restoration. It is a season of everything that was stolen to rise up. That's what I'm preaching, restoration. And somebody would say, how? In the midst of such storm and pain, you know, it's getting worse. Get into the boat of Jesus. You will see He is our only help.
It is 23 minutes and a few seconds after the hour 4. Yes, he's definitely able. He's able to do just what He said He will do. Now, back in 2016, Prophetess, as we were crossing over to the year 2017, I had a friend of mine who is actually a junior pastor, and he performed this song. And I must say that the song spoke to me at that particular moment when I was also going through challenges of my own. So I listened to your story there, and he managed to do just what he said he will do in your life as well.
Amen.
Yeah.
Amen.
Well, thank you for sharing that. Thank you for just sharing some aspects of your life. And let's talk more about the book. Yeah, definitely the title itself is telling me that I need to take this book and just read it from the beginning up until the end. Like, it is one of those books, by just reading through the title, My Journey to Destiny, this is one of those books that is telling me that, no, you need to read me. There's no way that you can actually stop reading this particular book. And there's so many things that are also speaking to different people there. I see also in the contents, we have the likes of a battlefield at work. Goodness me, aren't we all facing that at work? Aren't we all facing that? We are all facing challenges, and at times you actually feel like, I know, Nakishop, I cannot go to that workplace anymore. But you have to work, and there's so many things that you think of giving up on, but you know that I'm definitely, as the title, one of the contents is suggesting here, I'm going to break free. What I need to do is to make sure that I just continue breaking forth, because eventually I'm going to break through. Prophetess, let me give you time to tell us more, because you are just about to wrap up.
Yes, you're talking about the battlefield at work.
Yeah.
Coming from, as I said, I'm coming from escorts at Wembezi location.
Yeah.
Never seen an aircraft coming to OR Tambo. I didn't even know I was a boarding pass. And through Christ Jesus, and let me tell you, there were wars. When God, every one of us, we have a destiny, you know, and that destiny, we need to make sure we do what God has called us to do in the land of the living. And most of us, we get so discouraged at work, because even there are wars of people who wants to keep you down. When I got there, I learned, and I became so good. And every time I would train people, you know, to do great, they will become my supervisors and all that. And I never gave up, you know, because those are the things that makes us don't grow, because we look at what people are doing and forgetting, what did you go to work to do? You never went to work, you know, to just sit there and don't rise up. So my aim was, I'm going to rise up and to the highest and break through in things that even ladies in my working environment will never go to. And that's what happened. I was the first black manager in that company. I even went to operation AMC, you know, for 2010. God did great things, but it didn't just come easy. You know, even taking over as a black woman in a white company, you know, you realize that it's not an easy one. People fight you, but you need to keep on praying, to keep on relying on God and focusing, and never get satisfied that because now you're a manager, you've arrived. Keep on growing. The sky is not the limit. As long as we have Him on our side, we must move from glory to glory. And whatever comes on our way, don't even look at it. Look at where you are going. Wars will be there because you're a child of destiny.
And the book also gets to focus on things like disappointments, things like premature death. Goodness me, we have actually seen a lot of those in the past few weeks, where we just hear about for an example, yesterday or earlier today, I shared a story about another 8-month-old baby who unfortunately lost his life from KZ, and also who fell, or from a Free State rather, who fell off the bed, losing his life. And that is just one typical example, but there are so many others where people are also shot and killed. That is also premature death, and so many others that are happening there, Prophetess. So I'm going to give you a moment to speak about that. I shared a story about the shootings that we have actually been experiencing in our local communities. So things like those are also now leading to young people in particular. I shared yesterday about also 42,488 young people who are confirmed to be currently in our correctional service centers, arrested for crimes of need, such as housebreaking, such as theft. So things like those, and we are, of course, in the month of June, the month of young people in South Africa. So just about a minute, if you can, in wrapping up, or a minute and a few seconds, if you can, Prophetess, speak to those situations, and also, just encourage us, those who are actually going through trying times. I know that you shared about your journey earlier on, but we'll get to tell people more, even after the show, about my journey to destiny. But in wrapping up, that is going to be your closing remarks, as you get to encourage someone who does, at this particular moment, need encouragement. Someone who also lost his or her child, whether it is through miscarriage, whether it is actually through a child just actually being born, and then a few days later, a child is no more. Speak to that particular person.
Trust God in everything that you're going through. Don't kill yourself, because when you're going through such pain, nobody will understand that you just lost a child, you know, one and only child. You know, sometimes others, it's even better, they lose one, they've got 3. But when you've lost one and only child, it's not easy. Nobody will understand. People will want you to rise up and be. You know, don't kill yourself as youth. It's important, the association that you keep, who advises you, who is in your circle. You know, get people that are gonna influence you well, people that are going to be godly. And let me tell you, even suicide, their voices, it's not about somebody who says, I don't have money, I don't have a job, I'm killing myself. So it's not about just going to a psychologist only. Go to spiritual people that are preachers, people that are counselors, that are going to help you. Because my sister committed suicide at a boyfriend's place. And she used to tell me, I was not born again then, years ago in 2000. She used to tell me that I hear voices that are telling me to kill myself. So sometimes it's not just I don't have money or things are not going my way, I'm disappointed, but it's spiritual things that need somebody that's going to help you. Don't be quiet, you know, don't be scared to speak, and don't rush. People want to live beyond their means. You know, whatever other people have now, you know, celebrate with them. Your time is coming. Don't want to get what your peers are getting. There's seasons for everything. If you failed today, you will pass tomorrow. If you didn't get it tomorrow, whatever you needed, that car, God will give it in your good season. Don't rush. Don't compare yourself. Be original. But the main thing, let Jesus be your source. He's the only one that I know that is able to keep you and sustain you. And when you cry to him, he'll never laugh at you, but he will be there to pick you up.
Yeah, absolutely. In closing, Prophetess, where do we get your book? How do we contact you if we need to get more information, at least to speak to you as a counselor, and also getting access to the book?
I'm in Kempton Park in Dominion Life Changing Family Church inside town. We've got a church there. It starts at 10:30, and the number to contact me on is 067 897 6668. 067 897 6668. And I've got handles on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok of late.
Absolutely,
so it's Penny Mthethwa. Just go Penny Mthethwa. You'll get me there.
I'm going to do that immediately after this conversation. Thank you so much, Prophetess. I appreciate you for coming through and just giving us hope in this hopeless situation.
Thank you so much, James.
Right. We have got 50 sports.